There are certain stories in history that don't just inform you, they stay with you. Not because they're exaggerated or fictional, but because they actually happened. And when you really sit with them, you start to wonder how something like that was even possible. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this. Because this is not just another history lesson. This is the story of how one man rose from almost nothing and ended up dragging an entire world into chaos. Before the name Adolf Hitler meant anything to anyone, he was just a young boy growing up in a quiet town called Braunau. Nothing about his early life stood out in any remarkable way. He wasn't born into power. He didn't come from wealth. There was no clear sign that he would one day become one of the most feared figures in modern history. His father was strict, very focused on discipline and authority, the kind of man who expected obedience without question. His mother was the opposite, gentle, caring, and deeply attached to him. So from a young age, he was caught between two very different influences. And in that kind of environment, something started to build. Not ambition in the usual sense, something more unsettled. As he grew older, his interest became clear. He didn't care much for traditional education or structured career paths. What he wanted was to become an artist. He spent time drawing buildings, landscapes, imagining entire cities that didn't exist. In his mind, that was his future. So eventually, he left for Vienna, convinced that this was where his life would finally begin. But Vienna didn't give him what he expected. It rejected him. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts and was turned down. He tried again, hoping for a different outcome. The answer was the same: rejected. And that second rejection hit harder than the first. Because now it wasn't just a setback. It felt like the one thing he believed in was no longer possible. After that, his life didn't collapse all at once. It slipped, slowly. He found himself struggling to survive. There were nights spent in shelters, days where he relied on selling small paintings just to afford food. Life became uncertain, unstable. And during this time, Vienna itself was not a calm place. There were political tensions rising, nationalist ideas spreading, different groups blaming each other for the problems of society. And living in that environment, isolated and frustrated, he began to absorb these ideas. At first, they were just things he heard. Then they became things he believed. And over time, those beliefs hardened. Then in 1914, everything changed. World War I began, and like many others, he enlisted in the German army. For the first time in his life, he found something that gave him direction. There was structure. There was purpose. There was a sense of belonging he hadn't really experienced before. He served as a messenger on the front lines, which meant moving through some of the most dangerous parts of the battlefield, carrying orders while under constant threat. It was a role that required speed, endurance, and a willingness to face extreme risk. He saw the reality of war up close. Men he spoke with one moment would be gone the next. Entire units could disappear in a single attack. And yet, instead of breaking him, the experience seemed to give him a stronger sense of identity. He was recognized for his service and awarded the Iron Cross. But the moment that truly shaped his outlook came at the end of the war. In 1918, Germany was defeated. The loss was devastating, not just militarily, but emotionally. The empire collapsed. The economy weakened. The sense of national pride was shattered. Then came the Treaty of Versailles, which imposed harsh penalties and restrictions. To many Germans, it felt like humiliation. And in that environment, a powerful idea began to spread. That Germany had not truly been defeated on the battlefield, but had been betrayed from within. He accepted that idea completely. And once it took hold, it became central to the way he saw the world. In the years that followed, Germany struggled. Inflation spiraled out of control. Money lost value at an almost unbelievable rate. People needed stacks of cash just to buy basic necessities. The government was unstable. Public trust was low. And in that kind of chaos, new political movements began to emerge. One of them was the Nazi Party. At the time, it was small and largely ignored. But he saw potential in it. And more importantly, he understood something that would define his rise. People in desperate situations don't always look for detailed explanations. They look for clarity, for certainty, for someone who sounds like they have answers. And he positioned himself as that person. His speeches were intense, emotional, and direct. He spoke about national pride, identity, and injustice in a way that connected with people who were already frustrated. And slowly, his audience grew. What started as small gatherings became larger crowds. Influence began to spread, until eventually, he became the leader of the party. But influence wasn't enough. He wanted control. In 1923, he attempted to seize power in what became known as the Beer Hall Putsch. The attempt failed quickly, and he was arrested. At that point, it could have ended his political career. Instead, it changed it. While in prison, he wrote Mein Kampf, where he laid out his ideas and long-term goals. But more importantly, he adjusted his strategy. He realized that gaining power through force alone was not effective. It would require patience, planning, and working within the system itself. After his release, he began rebuilding carefully. And then, circumstances shifted in his favor. The Great Depression hit. The impact on Germany was severe. Unemployment rose sharply. Businesses failed. Families struggled to survive. And once again, people were desperate. And once again, he offered simple answers to complex problems. Clear promises, strong direction, a sense that things could be fixed. Support for his movement grew rapidly. Until in 1933, he was appointed Chancellor of Germany. At that point, everything accelerated. He moved quickly to eliminate opposition. Laws were passed that restricted freedoms. Political rivals were removed. The structure of government itself began to change. Germany was no longer functioning as a democracy. It was becoming a dictatorship. From there, control expanded into nearly every aspect of society. The military was strengthened. The economy was redirected toward preparation for war. Media and education were used to influence public perception. Step by step, the country was reshaped. Then came expansion. Austria was annexed. Czechoslovakia followed. Each move increased confidence and reduced resistance. Until in 1939, Germany invaded Poland. This time, the response was immediate. Britain and France declared war. World War II had begun. At first, Germany's military strategy proved highly effective. Rapid, coordinated attacks allowed them to gain control quickly. Several countries fell in a short period of time. It appeared unstoppable. But then came a critical decision. He ordered the invasion of the Soviet Union, led by Joseph Stalin. Initial progress was made, but the deeper the forces advanced, the more difficult the situation became. Supply lines stretched, resistance increased, and then winter set in, a harsh, unforgiving winter that slowed everything down. Equipment failed. Troops suffered. Momentum was lost. At the same time, the United States entered the war. Now Germany faced pressure from multiple directions. From the west, Allied forces advanced. From the east, Soviet forces pushed back. Bombings destroyed infrastructure. Cities were reduced to ruins. And gradually, the situation became unsustainable. By 1945, defeat was no longer avoidable. He retreated to a bunker beneath Berlin as opposing forces closed in. Cut off in the outside world, the situation had completely reversed. On April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler ended his life. Shortly after, Germany surrendered. The war in Europe came to an end. But the consequences remained. Millions of lives lost. Entire cities destroyed. A global impact that would be felt for generations. And when you look back at it, the most important part of this story is not just the rise or even the fall. It's the reminder of how quickly things can change, how powerful ideas can become when people are searching for answers, and how history, if not understood, can repeat itself in ways that are just as destructive. This is where the video ends. If you found this story valuable, make sure you subscribe for more historical stories like this.